Hello and welcome to another edition of Culture on I-24 News. We're here with all the latest stories from the world of entertainment and art, and today we have a wonderful show for you. We'll take a look at the work of Oscar-nominated director Hani Abu Assad. Author Nir Baram will be here to talk about his latest book, World Shadow, and a touching initiative in Indonesia. But first, today's cultural headlines. It was recently announced that legendary Italian conductor Claudio Abbado has died at the age of 80. Abbado's career started in 1960 at the Opera House in his hometown of Milan, where he later went on to become musical director for 28 years. He was also the conductor of the London Symphony Orchestra and the Berlin Philharmonic, among many others. Abbado especially loved pieces of the romantic 19th century style, particularly those of Mahler. Abbado received numerous awards throughout his career, including the Cross of the French Legion of Honor, the Imperial Prize of Japan, and honorary doctorates from several universities. Today, the U.S. marks Martin Luther King Day, but ironically, this weekend, director Oliver Stone announced he is pulling away from the MLK biopic he was supposed to direct. Stone's film would have followed the slain civil rights leader from his rise to his assassination in 1968, with Jamie Foxx slated to star. Stone tweeted that the script dealt with issues of adultery, conflicts within the movement, and King's spiritual transformation into a higher, more radical being. It's likely that the deal dissolved because of unsuccessful negotiations between the studios and King's estate, who hold the rights to his famous copyrighted speeches, and who are trying to prevent depiction of long-running rumors that he had extramarital affairs. Director Paul Greengrass ran into similar problems 2 years ago when trying to launch his version of a MLK biopic. Stone's final tweet on the matter was, "They suffocate the man and the truth." Two films, Gravity and 12 Years a Slave, tied for the top film prize at the Producers Guild Awards held last night in Beverly Hills. This was the first time in the award's 25-year history. The award is considered to boost the Oscar chances for Gravity, thought until now to be overshadowed by 12 Years a Slave and American Hustle. On the TV side, the now completed Breaking Bad won the top award in the drama category, and Modern Family won for comedy for the fourth year in a row. HBO's Behind the Candelabra, about the life of flamboyant opera star Liberace, played by Michael Douglas, won in the long-form category. Some other important upcoming award ceremonies in this busy season are the Directors Guild Awards next Saturday, and those by the Writers Guild the following one. And audiences of the film The Wolf of Wall Street in Dubai were left perplexed and angry this weekend. Local censors cut 45 minutes from the 3-hour film about the escapades of a ruthless Wall Street trader played by Leonardo DiCaprio. The cut footage included scenes showing drug use and graphic sexual content. Also, all the profanities in the film were bleeped out. The cuts were so extensive, they made the film outright incoherent and unwatchable for many viewers. It's a standard practice for many Middle Eastern governments to censor films and cut out certain scenes, usually for language deemed blasphemous or harmful to national security, or for nudity. However, in this case, it was the regional distributor who did the heavy-handed editing. One filmgoer in Dubai commented that watching the movie was like looking at the Mona Lisa with sunglasses on. There are so many unorthodox cuts that you are never really sure what's happening. Sounds to me like they just cut out all the good parts. When the Oscar nominations were announced last week, Omar, the official Palestinian entry by director Hani Abu Assad, was among the nominees for Best Foreign Film. Here's a look at Abu Assad's work and the controversial issues it deals with.
It's the Oscars! The category of Best Foreign Film at the upcoming Oscars holds a quiet political struggle. Interestingly, for the past few years, the Academy of Motion Pictures Arts and Sciences has recognized Palestine as an independent territory, even though it is not officially recognized as a state by the United States or the UN. Even though this year's Palestinian nominee Omar was shot in Israel, director Hani Abu Assad insisted that the film will be submitted on behalf of Palestine, as he sees himself as a Palestinian filmmaker. Abu Assad was born in Nazareth in Israel in 1961. After studying aerodynamics and working in airplane design for a few years in the Netherlands, he decided to go into the film business, first as a producer and then as director. He gained international recognition in 2005 with his film Paradise Now, which dealt with the story of two Palestinians planning a suicide bombing in Israel. The film won the Golden Globe Award for Best Foreign Film and was also nominated as the Palestinian film in the Oscars. After a failed Hollywood outing, the 2012 thriller The Courier, Abu Assad returns with Omar to the subject matter of political strife and the Palestinian reality. His latest film tells the story of a young Palestinian who conspires with his friends to murder an Israeli soldier. The film deals with the trials and complexities of Palestinian life. If Omar does win Best Foreign Film at the Academy Awards on March 2nd, it would be the first Palestinian entry to do so.
Israeli author Nir Baram has published 5 books that have been very successful in Israel. His 2009 book, The Remaker of Dreams, was also translated to German, and his 2010 outing, Good People, has been translated to 12 languages and will be published in France next week. His latest novel, World Shadow, tops the bestsellers list in Israel. Very happy to welcome Nir Baram to our studio. Hi, Nir.
Hi, nice to be here.
So let's talk about this. Your latest book, World Shadow. The plot there is pretty complicated, but tell me a little bit about the issues it deals with.
Well, basically, the novel tried to depict 30 years of capitalism and globalization in different parts of the world, and it tried to also understand the different forces that are entangled in this system.
So it's a very small personal story.
Yeah, very. Only psychology and people from Haifa are going. And basically, the root of the book is a strike of 1 billion people, of young anarchists in London. And then the book describes in 2 other plots all the forces that are gaining together in order to stop the strike. And what's interesting, I think, in this book is it gives equal voices to the forces who try to destroy capitalism and the forces who try to defend and gain from capitalism.
Ah, I see. Now, how did you come about writing this book? Is it a result of the social uprising, let's call it, that swept the world a couple of years ago?
Well, I've been thinking about this issue for a long time, and after 2008, I began to understand that there is a huge bug in the capitalist system, not from point of view of socialism, but from point of view of classic capitalism. I mean, capitalism promised social mobility, the ability to excel, and now you see in all the West that there is no social mobility, and it's the same people all the time.
The gap only grows larger.
For example, The Economist gave a very interesting story that 95% of the fruits of the economic recovery in the United States came to 1% of society. Which this is a major bug in capitalism itself. So I began to plan the book, and then I understood that what I want to do is try to understand the capitalism since the shift in the 80s in the West towards, let's say, more radical capitalism until the end of this decade, and try to understand and to imagine the next phase of protest.
So what did you find out?
I think that this phase of protests came from the middle class, from people who believe in democracy and elections, in all the process that are connected to the mainstream media. Think about Occupy Wall Street or in Israel, people, they're all the time crying why the mainstream media is not okay. The next phase will be, I think, much more violent. The people will be less devoted to democracy. There is a big question in the West right now. If the economical order doesn't change through elections, because every election you choose different people, but the same gap between
the same system,
and also the gap between rich people and poor people are all the time widening. So do we believe in democracy? Can we change specific countries through democracy? I think the answer is not very simple. So the next phase of protest will be, I think, much violent and more global, because you can't change the economical order, which is globalized, only through one state. I think the protest should also be globalized. Right.
Now, you come from a very political family. You're also politically political yourself, let's say, but you chose the life of an author, not the life of a politician. Why is that? Do you think that as an author you can change more?
Well, first I promised my mother. No, seriously.
I think that's enough. You don't break promises to your mom.
Okay, so I promised my mother never to be a politician.
Okay.
And secondly, I know I come from a political family. I saw politics all my life,
right.
And I didn't decide it, but this is not something I think I can really do. And by the way, I think that not as just as author, also as, let's say, involved intellectual, I can influence society more than some of the politicians in Israel right now that I don't think you know their name even.
Yeah. And were you hoping with this book to reach out to people and give them maybe offer a different view of the economic world?
I think the book did it because nothing I wrote in my life created so much responses like this book. It was totally different because it wasn't just about a novel. It was also about the life of people in Israel right now. Mm-hmm. And the fact that Israel is part of this globalized world and they want to understand, first of all, to really see the system that's running their life and also to try to think about the next phase of change, of protest. And I think that a book can change. I believe in literature. This is why I write literature, right? So I believe in literature. I believe it can change people's mind. It takes a long time, slow motion. It's not right now. But I think that this book do something to the discourse in Israel about protest and about capitalism. Yeah.
All right, Nir Baram, I thank you for coming in, of course, and wish you all the best of luck.
Thank you, and good luck to you too.
In just a moment, we'll hear about a heartwarming project in Jakarta, but first a few cultural events from around the world.
Discover the world of graphic designer Stefan Zygmaster at the Gaîté Lyrique in Paris, a center dedicated to digital culture. Considered one of the leading designers of the 21st century, Zygmaster is known for his work on album covers for Lou Reed, the Rolling Stones, and David Byrne. The exhibition chronicles the artist's quest for happiness through 3 different methods: meditation, drugs, and cognitive therapy. On view until March 9th. In Tel Aviv, the Batsheva Dance Company, led by renowned choreographer Ohad Naarin, is launching Gaga in the Hangar. The public is invited to join the dancers for a giant Gaga lesson. Gaga is a language of movement invented by Naarin that he uses for his company and teaches to the general public. All profits from the event will be donated to the Association for Civil Rights in Israel. The massive Gaga dance will take place at Hangar 11 in the Tel Aviv port on January 21st. In Uruguay, an exhibition that might change our view of history. The discovery of human traces on animal fossils raises questions on the presence of human beings in prehistoric South America. Paleontological discoveries exhibited at the Museum of Pre-Columbian Civilizations of Montevideo demonstrate that humans have lived in the region for over 30,000 years, not 15,000 as previously thought. There is still no consensus about the findings within the scientific community, but you can see it for yourself at the Uruguay capital.
Now, an original initiative in Indonesia helps underprivileged children get in touch with their emotions through music. Sarah Micheleto, a world-renowned violinist, took her instrument to a school in Jakarta to help local kids better express themselves. David Gombin has the story.
Sarah Micheleto is the first violinist of the world-famous Fenice Opera in Venice. But the renowned violinist also dedicates part of her time to help disadvantaged children on the other side of the globe.
I wanted to share the beauty of the music with other people with less opportunities. This is the first thing that I wanted to do. The special thing of what I do, I think, is that playing live music, playing the violin to the students, to the children, they had a chance to get from me directly the emotion. And to me, it's very beautiful to have this to share this, not to this exchange, because the way they listen is very special.
And it seems to work. Recently, Micheleto brought her instrument to a poor neighborhood in Jakarta, Indonesia. When she arrived, the children immediately gathered around her, drawn by the calming notes of her violin.
Dulu sebelum ada Miss Sarah itu,
Before, all the children used to fight a lot. But since Miss Sarah came, all the children sit quietly and finally study.
Miss Sarah belajar.
The principal of the Campus di Konya Modern School says the kids find it easier to express their feelings this way.
It used to be quite difficult to make the children express their feeling and to make them relax because of their limitation in the ability to communicate. But with this new music activity with Miss Sarah, they are now able to express what they feel without having to resort to the use of words.
Ideas that Micheletto hopes to spread around the world.
Because everywhere we needed to be closer to our emotions, to have a better understanding of each other.
That's it from us for today. I hope you enjoyed watching our show and that you'll choose to join us again tomorrow.